Yeah, I still hear the music, the intro music every time before we start.
Yeah.
And I know that there is a way on the OBS system that we use that we can do that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, if we had a real producer, bring the music in and like fade it down naturally.
yeah. But then we would like have to have like a actual pick a start time that we would have to start every week at the same time.
Do you want to guess how long the intro music is? On both the pod and the video, it's the same number of seconds before it completely fades out.
Less than 15.
Oh, yeah. It's about half of that. It's 8 seconds.
Oh yeah.
The pod and video bumper are both 8 seconds long. I feel like I should make them longer every time. And then I think to myself, nah, this works.
I think it's perfect.
Yeah.
I think it's perfect.
Doesn't stick around too long. The first few, we had like 25 and 30 second intro. Like it's like kept going. We'd be like on a whole new subject. And we still have the intro music
But
going.
you technically could just leave it going in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's perfect too. I don't have any qualms with it. I think it's great. But you also don't want a long intro either.
Mm-hmm.
Like you listen to some podcasts and it's like there's an intro, then they talk, and then they play the intro again. Maybe if we had like a ad partner or something, that would be better. But
Yeah, we need some advertisers.
maybe at some point.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll come as we grow. But how was your week?
It was good. Not too busy, not too crazy. We had a soccer tournament today. So it's kind of what we've done pretty much all day. Boys played well.
Did we win?
We missed oldest boy did not. The first place team who won the championship kicked him out. And the way they do their points is a little different. So he didn't even make the bracket. Our young boys missed the playoff bracket of the championship game by 1 point.
Mm.
This particular tournament does not do a playoffs bracket, so to speak. It's one game. So it is, win-loss record, then goals for, goals against, all these different lists to get all of the teams down to the top two. And so my oldest son was in third place solid just based on win-loss record. So that was really easy, but the little boys were out by 1 point for being in the second place spot. And they lost to the first place team that won the whole thing 7-5. Really well fought. Club team, been playing together for a couple of years already. And these are 6, 7-year-olds, 6, 7. And that's just their age. Kindergarten, first graders. And that team went on to the championship and won. And so,
well, at least you got beat by the champs,
They played them well. And so, yeah, it would have been a fun little rematch if they would have hit that one extra point. Because it's like you get points for goals, you get points for wins, you get another point thrown on there if you do a shutout, So, but they played really well. It was fun.
Do you like the points, or is it just win-losses, or like in tournament mode?
Yeah.
Do you prefer just win-losses? Does that trump
I think that
or is
would
it based on points?
I think the points are probably better in tournament mode because you have so many teams. You have such a big starting bracket to get down to, and like this tournament gets down to one championship game. It's just like number 1, number 2 seed go play each other. There's no semis or anything. I think it would have been fun if they had like semifinals, like send 4 teams, not just 2.
That's fair.
I think they would have had a shot.
That's fair.
But they played those kids really well, so it's exciting. And they had a great time. They had a fun time, and they like to get to play multiple games. I mean, so many times we go out on Saturday and they play their one game. Maybe they have a doubleheader, but they played 4 games to get, through the, what do you call them? Prelims?
Yeah. Or the pool play.
Pool play. That's what it is. Yeah.
Pool play. Or that's what it is in volleyball. I guess I can't really speak for soccer.
That's what they call it. I'm learning. I'm becoming a soccer person.
So did you watch soccer today instead of football?
No, I actually did not watch any American football games today.
Yeah, I did.
But I watched a good ton of youth soccer games, football.
My time is coming. My time is coming for volleyball. It's club volleyball is right around the corner, man. I mean, and they start. I don't think they have a tournament until middle of December or something like that, but it'll be here. It'll be here, man.
I'm getting interested, and I helped, and very small emphasis on the helped coach my oldest son's team today, and his. So, okay. And I went into it thinking I never want to coach, and after today, I never want to coach.
Yeah,
I'm not built for it. It's just different. I'm a better fan on the sideline.
It's not easy.
Now, my real job today was I gave some pointers and helped put them in position, and I worked the subs and the timing and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So I was that kind of coach. You know, very administrative. That's right up my alley. Whereas the other guy was more of the actual coach who knows what he's talking about.
Right.
Right. But I came away from it saying, yeah, I never want to do this again. I mean, for just a one day thing like this, I would jump in. And that's what I started to do. My son, this was a tournament where you kind of build your own team. Like, so he got some of his friends, and most of them were on his team he played with in the fall. He grabbed one kid from a different team, and that was he wanted to play. And it's like, well, you know, kid wants to play, needs a coach. So I signed up as a coach, and thankfully one of the kids' dads has soccer coach experience and actually was the real coach. But
you can do it.
Yeah, you say that because you do it.
So we, my daughter had her like club team bonding thing or whatever. Well, like I really do genuinely try to take a hands-off approach to when my kids are playing. Now, like when they get into school ball, it's a little different because, I mean, I'm involved a lot more. But when it comes to club, like I literally sit at the back. Like they had their team bonding and all the parents are kind of gathering around and we're sitting over in a completely different section.
Yeah.
But what like I don't think people realize is like our kids specifically, and my wife pointed this out last night, like our kids they rarely ever don't have us around. Whether it's in school, whether it's in, you know, sports, whatever.
Yeah.
So like when we do have an opportunity to kind of let them fly a little bit, we try to take it.
Sure.
We're very conscious of that because, you know, you got to let your kids grow up a little bit.
That, and this is the first time the season has ended, and I feel like I'm missing it as much as my boys are. Like next weekend, I'll be like, man, how come we're not loading up the chairs and heading out, you know?
Yeah.
And usually when it ends, I'm like, I'm ready for it to be over.
But not
now.
I'm
ready for a break. And it's like a 3-month break. You know, we don't start back up till first week of March for rec ball. And I'm missing it. They're missing it. The little boys took it hard when they realized they were done for the year. They're like, so when do we get to play again? We're like, March. They took it pretty hard.
Y'all don't play basketball or anything like that? What about indoor?
Ooh. We do indoor in the summer. Indoor soccer.
They don't do indoor soccer in the winter?
No teams they've ever been a part of, no.
Huh.
They probably could. But I do have one of my little boys wants to play basketball. So I bet that's already started up though.
Yeah, we started practice. Well, we were supposed to start last week, but we had baseball playoffs. So
yeah, he dribbles and everything. My neighbor next door has a goal, so.
But yeah, you want to talk about scandal. That's those CMYSA leagues or the youth association leagues getting competitive against one each other, and then this one starts another. Holy cow. You thought the government shutdown was scandalous.
Here's the thing. I got some more parent talk here. I think there's a give and take. There is nuance. I can see both sides. But there are some parents that are over the top on calling out their kids when they make a mistake on the court. Like, I am more of and I realize I am so different from so many sports parents. But I'm more along the lines of more encouragement. Like if he whiffs the ball or misses something, or I've got one that gets angry and aggressive, and I'm like, settle, if he gets his chicken wing out there a little too much or slide tackles into a dude's ankle. I'm like, hey, that's not great, And I'm a little more, what I'm trying to say is some of these parents are like, hey, did you not eat your breakfast this morning? Hey, what was that? Hey, get off your A. Like every single time they mess up, like I'm not saying you can't call that out as a parent, like 100% do that. I am like 60-40, 60 of it positive, 40 of it like more direct instruction. The other 60 is like, that's okay. You're good. Like I'm like 60-40 positive, negative. Some of these parents are 100% negative, and it's every single time. Like every single time my kid makes a mistake, I don't say something every single time. But it amazes me, these parents that do every single one and every single time is negative. There's not a single time they're like, hey, fix that. You'll get it next time. That's okay. Like, especially, and I feel like in soccer, this is the worst. If a team is running up the score on you and your kid's the goalie, like every time he misses one, like you can't be just called right.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right.
You know the parents I'm talking about.
I know 100%. I got a story for this.
Okay.
So this past week we played.
We're turning into the youth sports podcast.
That's okay. Well, you just said it's ending for you, so we won't be on the rush sheet. So last week we played in our playoff, whatever, and this is coach pitch baseball, so 8U. The team that we were playing was undefeated, and we're not a bunch of athletes on our team. I'll say that we try really hard. We're here for a good time, and none of us are gonna go play Major League Baseball. So we're playing, and we've gotten a lot better. Like every week, some kid makes a play that he couldn't have made the week before. So like we're progressing. Every week, our kids are upset when we lose. They're happy when we win.
Right.
But by the time we get out of the dugout, it's over. Like for most of them. Like my son takes it a little bit harder than there's sprinkled in there some kids that are really upset. But we're playing this team, and they have this in soccer too because I've seen it. But exactly what I'm talking about. There are 7 coaches in the dugout.
Yeah.
They're dressed from head to toe.
Oh yeah.
In the uniform. One guy had on stirrups this week.
A coach.
Oh
no.
This is 8U baseball. Okay.
Ian Kinsler wore those, right?
Yeah. So also though, I think there were 12 teams in the league and we were number 7. Okay. So they're ranked number 1. We're ranked number 7. We had to beat somebody to play them and they got a first round bye.
Yeah.
So they're supposed to beat us. Like it's supposed to be
right.
Not even close. Well, we come out, we score 5 runs right off the top, which they made some errors, but they're 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
One kid airmailed the ball across the field, which happens.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they get mad at the first baseman. They're screaming and hollering and stuff like that. Game comes around. We end up losing. They did not run rule us, which was a big deal for us. We were not run ruled in any inning. We got 3 outs in every single inning. And I come up, and our kids none of them are crying. They're really happy that we scored. I think we scored like 9 runs. We ended up losing like 16-9 or something like that. And there's a kid walking from the opposing team across the field, and he's crying because like they won. I don't know, but I know why. And that, I'm assuming it was his dad, is yelling at him, berating him the entire time. And it's not like you need to intervene as like another dad.
Right.
But it's just like, why'd you make that mistake? Why'd you throw it there? Why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? Constantly questioning him.
Mm-hmm.
And like this kid was playing third base and he was making great plays for an 8-year-old, like in an 8-year game. 15 minutes passes. We clean the dugout. We're walking out and he is walking in front of us and he's still crying because he knows what's about to happen when he gets into the car.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, I just, and I see it all the time when you get to the high school level and you all of a sudden see the kid who has quote unquote loved the sport for so long. And then all of a sudden they just stop playing.
Yeah.
and they're just tired of it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where we're at in our youth sports is like, if it's not competitive, like I'm talking about like you're paying a lot of money.
Right.
And I'm not talking about hundreds of dollars. I'm not even talking about, a few thousand. I'm talking if you're not paying tens of thousands of dollars, which I have done and I have been in those tournaments, then you need to make sure your kid's having fun at the end of the day. Like we want to win. But I just think that a lot of times the parents are living vicariously through their kids because either they couldn't play, like their parents couldn't afford to play, or they just weren't very good themselves.
I was going to say that exact same thing. I think there's a direct connection with the parent who lives vicariously through their kids for either one of the reasons, or they're older now and they can't play baseball anymore, like at a competitive level.
Yeah.
And the ones who talk to their kids that way. That and select and club ball is such a status symbol. And I don't know if it's this way everywhere in the country.
It's definitely the way in the South.
Definitely that way here. So, and it's like your kid just getting on a club team, that's not enough. What club team did they get on? And then what level in that club did they get on? And it's such a status symbol where, it's almost like having I'm going to say Mercedes, but I would never own a Mercedes. I just don't like them. But it's like having a Mercedes in the driveway.
Yeah.
If your kid's on a top club ball team.
Yep.
And yes, the people and parents who have more money to spend many times can get there. I feel like you've got to have money to spend to be able to get to that top level. If not for just the coaches' fees and the club fees, but just the travel fees. Like if your kid's on a national team and you're going to Mississippi, you're going to Vegas, you're going to the Midwest, you're getting on airplanes with your family. There's some costs there. And
that's what I'm saying. Tens of thousands of dollars.
Yes. Yeah. To do this. And I feel like, and plus the extra training that they can pay for their kids, but it's almost like for the parents, that's my investment out there more than my kids playing sports. That's like we talked about in the fall.
Yep.
Not the fall. It was early in the spring. Yeah. It was like Aprilish, May. And my oldest made one of the club teams. But we started sensing he just wasn't really into it. He would go to the practices and he would practice, but he didn't seem to be enjoying it like he did when he played rec. And so,
because it's not his buddies.
Before I wrote that several $1,000 check and signed the contract on July 1, we just had a very frank conversation with him, and over a few days because he's younger. And turns out he just wanted to go play with his friends.
Right.
And I was like, that's great. You have the talent and the skill to make a club ball team. But at the end of the day, doing this for you means you just want to go play with your friends. Okay. Let's go do that.
Yeah. I just think too,
and he's having a blast.
People don't talk to their kids. That's part of the problem too. Is well,
I feel like there's a lot of parents who think we're stupid for making that decision. It'd be like, what? Your kid made a club team and you didn't take him? And he's not on a club team? No. Let
me give you a little pointer too. I think we talked a little bit about this when I've been in those club, not soccer, but I've been around the game of baseball, tournament teams.
Definitely volleyball.
It gets to a certain level where you're competing with kids that you can't compete with anymore, and it doesn't have anything to do with your skill. It has everything to do with you can't coach height, you can't coach strength.
Yeah.
You can make your kid as strong as you want, but if in volleyball, if you're playing front row and you're not over 6 foot, you're probably not going to go play Division I volleyball.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you can't go play somewhere, but the likelihood of you doing that is very slim. So you want to at least, if you're trying to run that rat race, at least make it a good experience for them.
Right.
When our oldest decided she wasn't going to play anymore, we were like, okay, well, we're not paying all that money, but her and her mom got to travel quite a bit,
mm-hmm.
and that's experiences that you're never going to get back.
Sure.
So that's what I took it as, is okay, well, we're going to try to do this, and if you make it, great. If you don't, then we'll try, at least you had great experiences with your mom,
mm-hmm.
So, But like, I'm going to go ahead and hop down before we do a little sports talks, because sports talk's going to be super short this week. Being a school teacher, something I don't think they train you for, and I put this on the run sheet, is help your kids with their demons. Don't run from it, face it. Like 3 experiences in the last week for me. I can't go into a whole lot of detail because it's still, some of it hasn't come out, but is like, I've been around kids long enough to know when they're facing something and they're being hurt by that. And and instead of just with the school's help and the professional help, the parents just take their kid and run.
Mm-hmm.
And it catches up every single time. And it's sad because it's like, I know what's about to happen. Like, I can tell you exactly what's going to happen if you don't do this. And like, you can even have conversations with their parents, with them. And every single time, I haven't been wrong. And like, I want to be wrong about this. Like, I want to be wrong about the outcome that's coming. I want to be wrong about, what's going to happen. And yet every single time I'm not. And so it's hard because it's like, man, parents, face it. Like, as hard as it is, as hard as whatever the situation you're handling, I promise you it's going to be way better now if you handle it now and get it over with.
Yeah.
Than what you're going to be facing down the road, because it's going to be way worse.
Without giving too much away, can you give background or insight on like the?
So I'll tell you. I can't tell you about these two.
Like specific.
I can't tell you about the ones from this week, but I can tell you about one that happened when I was at a different district. So we had this kid, and he was just unhinged. I mean, behavioral wise, he had some terrible traumatic incidents happen to him, and we call a meeting with his mom and his dad. They were separated, various reasons why. I don't even remember why. But like, our principal was very frank. Like, he said, like, I've seen this before. If you don't handle this, he's going to either end up in jail or dead. Mm-hmm. Like, right in front of his mom, right in front of his dad, right in front of him. And they unenrolled him. He had done something that had gotten him in some trouble. I don't remember exactly what he did. He was constantly in and out of trouble. And this was around 18-ish. It was around like 2015. So it was about 10 years ago. And 2 years ago, I saw his name in the obituary. Mm. And like, I thought about that meeting. And it's like, every time something like that happens, I think, man, could I have done something different?
Yeah.
Is something I said, could I have said something differently? Could I have approached it differently? To maybe reach that kid, mm-hmm. to maybe they would have changed their life, and the outcome was exactly how I thought. And I can think of at least 10 off the top of my head, and I'm sure there's more that I'm forgetting, because some of them are just so tragic that you just try to put them in the back of your memory, and occasionally they pop up. But like, man, it's been with some of the, and it's not like big news, like you wouldn't see it on Facebook or something like that. You know what I mean? So if you're not involved in those conversations, but man, like, like raising kids, you see when they make mistakes. Yeah. You see whenever that is. And if you don't get in front of it, if you just kind of sweep it under the rug, it gets bigger. And then the next issue is bigger. And then if you sweep that under the rug, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's just from experience. Like, I don't have a degree in psychology or parenting or whatever that is, but I've been around kids long enough to know, and you can see it,
right?
Like anybody who's been in education, I'm sure your wife tell you the same thing.
Yeah,
because my wife, even at elementary, you can see it at that age too.
Right. She has stories on both sides. You've got the ones who, like you say, ran, and then you hear about them later on in a not great ending or not great status. And then you have the ones like she'll run into at a football game that are now in high school because she teaches middle school,
right?
Who are just like bright-eyed and, approaching life great and had a good student.
Right. And to be clear, most of the outcomes are that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, most of them are that way. And like,
she'll say, like, it's hilarious. She'll be like, I'll be with her. And so like, it's going to be like, hey, this is brother, all this kind of stuff. And like, everything she's doing and everything looks great. And I'll be like, and my opinion is, I don't know this kid. I don't know their background, anything. My wife does, like, she didn't tell me about all of them, right? And if she did, I wouldn't remember anyway. So I don't know who this kid is, or if they've just been a straight A wonderful student the whole time. And then, we'll walk away and she'll be like, well, she is doing a lot better because when she was in my class, she was a challenge, and then it's like, well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You got to high school and something clicked. Middle school's a fun time.
There's a special place in heaven for special education teachers and middle school teachers.
Mm-hmm.
I did my time there. I could go back and do it, but man, I don't know why I didn't get to high school quicker.
Well, even like raising middle school kids, which you've raised a couple. I've got a couple, one leaving 8th grade this year and a senior. And like, she's like, oh, this person said I'm weird. I'm like, all of y'all are weird.
Yeah, you're all weird.
Yeah. Yes, you are weird. And your friends are weird. And I could point out 10 different things about why all of you are weird. Like, it's middle school.
It's supposed to
be.
That's why it's called the middle.
Yeah. It's just,
I had a middle school. When I taught middle school, I had this guy, his name was Johnny Wells. He's a great like mentor of teachers, but also like mentor of kids.
Mm-hmm.
And so he told us one time we were sitting at the lunch table. He was like, what the job of a middle school teacher is? Just not mess them up. Yeah. He was like, no one remembers the middle school teacher. Yeah. Everyone recognizes the high school teacher and the elementary teacher. How many of the teachers get recognized that are middle school? And I was like, you know what? He's right.
Yeah.
Just don't mess them up.
Yeah.
And just keep them on a straight and narrow path. And if you can do that, then you're all right.
That's what I try to tell my middle schooler now. Things like that. I'm like, don't worry about any of that. What people say, who your friends are. I was like, I give her, thankfully she has an older sister. I can give her an example. I'm like, your older sister's best friend in middle school, they went to high school and my daughter went off and did dance. That one went off and played soccer. They never really talked after that.
Right.
She found her group, that person found their group. I was like, don't put so much stock into this thing. Go to class. Do what you're supposed to do. Be kind to people. Let's call it a day.
Yep.
Well,
and also like, that's the thing too, man. You got to talk to your kids. You've got to have conversations with your kids, and you can't, we're not saying anything that anybody hasn't already said, but let's don't let the internet raise your kids. I'm not saying don't ever let them get on the internet, because that's not good either. Because as soon as they get on it, it's a, like a whole other issue. But this is not a parenting podcast.
It's not.
Just two dads with a little bit of experience.
With some experience. 9 kids between us.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of kids. It's a big table. This is kind of going backward back on our way into sports, but Marshawn Nealand.
Man.
Hearing that news, when you hear Dallas Cowboys defensive tackle passes away, I'm like, all right, who was it on the team in the 70s?
Yeah.
That died. Not the 24-year-old that just scored a touchdown a few days before that as a DT.
Okay, what's crazy about that story is I didn't know him. I didn't know him until he scored the touchdown. Then I looked him up, and I was like, oh, he's an up-and-comer.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, he'd been injured, but kind of came back. And
we have a couple of those guys right now.
Yeah.
And I think he was one of the guys that they were kind of counting on.
Man, going through some things, and I'm sure there's more details out there than I know about because I haven't gone to look. But just knowing that he was going through some things, I just cut my own mic off.
Oh, you're trying to mute mine.
I was pushing buttons. I listened to somebody talking today about it, kind of sports radio, and they were just saying, what a difficult time his girlfriend's having with it. Because everyone thinks when someone does this, what could I have done differently? It's kind of like what you're saying about the student. That's what made me think about it and kind of segue to that. Is what could I have done differently so their life didn't end this way or didn't turn out this way? And the overarching theme that everyone has said is nothing. There's not it. You want to be, when that person is hitting that rock bottom low, you want to know exactly when it happens. You want to know exactly what to say. But you cannot follow somebody around 24/7 and police them, and you can't be inside their head. And so he was dealing with some things, and it's sad. But I think the thing to take away from it is to be able to have those conversations with our kids, about it. And then to take an inventory of the people in our lives, like, who do we need to check in on?
Right.
Who do we need to check in on more? Not that I'm not trying to reverse what I just said and say that we can make a difference, but like, I think we can over time, be able to recognize that and be one of the people that gets to help people through it. And then just not being afraid to ask for help. And that's an easy thing for us to say, like man to man, like, hey, don't be too macho. Don't be too macho to ask for help.
Yeah.
It's also providing a space whenever you are around them and you don't know if they're going through something, to be sure that's always on the table.
Yeah. And I think too, like, men don't do very well with words about their feelings.
Yeah.
And I think, like, something that someone told me this week, and I was just kind of taken aback by it. And they were talking about, they listen regularly, and they were asking, like, where do you find the words to say what you're saying? I'm like, well, I don't really understand that question.
Yeah.
But they're like, well, you and Clint sit there and talk for 2 hours. You have over 100 hours of stuff out there. How do you find what you're talking about? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. And I think a lot of times, like, this podcast for me, I mean, it's a hobby that maybe one day turns into something else, but at the end of the day, it's me talking to my friend.
Yeah.
And
you just have experience. You have experiences, like
we live through, I mean, we're both in our 40s, and like sometimes it's just things that come up, and then we also both like to talk about politics, and that's kind of another hobby that we have. And so it's like this is also a way for us to kind of relay our thoughts and feelings on certain situations. And I mean, I know I look forward to this every week, because it's just like a moment of like pause in my brain, and I can talk about politics with someone else who also likes to talk about politics and life. And that's an outlet for me. You got to find whatever that is for you.
You do.
And we like to smoke cigars.
We do. We got checking those boxes. And another thing is, like, to lean into people and to actually do the work, like to be proactive with it. I remember I went through a very hard time some years back, some very bad news. And my brother-in-law didn't like call and say, hey man, let me know what I can do. He showed up, set a 6-pack of beer on the coffee table in front of me, and just sat. Sometimes that's what you need. Yeah. And I'm not saying go buy a 6-pack of beer and sit in front of somebody's living room. You do you, if that's you, if that's not, whatever. But sometimes just go show up. Like, especially you talk about when you talk about how we are as men, like, we're not going to say like, I need some help. But if you know somebody needs some help, light up a cigar, take one or two with you, and just go sit. Yeah.
And sometimes saying nothing says a lot.
Yes. Especially for men.
Yeah.
We're just that way most of the time. Like,
You do see the jokes though, where it's like you go out with your buddy who's just got a divorce, and you're like, you get home and your wife's like, well, what happened? I don't know. Well, what'd you talk about?
I don't know.
Cowboys?
I know he's shanking a 7-iron.
Yeah. He is not hitting the ball very well.
That's what I know. All the jokes, those are funny, but it's so true. Like, but we don't sometimes we do. Sometimes we don't need to sit and hash out all the details.
Right.
Just need somebody to be present.
Well, and then just checking on your buddy. You know what I mean? Like, I have a buddy that I check on regularly because, I know he went through a rough patch for a while, and he's doing much, 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 much better now. But it's like, even when I know it's that time of the year, I'm going to check in on him, By the way, it was also brought to my attention that our torch lighters are very loud, according to one listener. And I was like, well, like, that's kind of part of the bit. That's kind of part of the bit.
Do it on purpose.
Yeah. Now, I don't do that very well because I almost light the microphone on fire.
I did it way over here this time.
You did do it over there, but it picked up in my thing. The other thing about this is, do you catch yourself when you're having a conversation, like pushing your ears in a little bit? Because I'm like trying to hear.
No.
I do that,
I don't
man.
do that.
I'll be like, I can't hear this person. I need to tell.
Speaking of pushing ears in, then we get back to sports. But we upgraded some Apple equipment this week. We got new watches, and I've never had AirPods. I've always just bought aftermarket, like JBL earbuds.
Yeah.
Those things don't fit my ears. Now, I know you can buy the foam pieces, but I was really disappointed. I'm going to. I actually gave them to my wife because she didn't get it. And I was like, here, do they fit your ears? She's like, fit fine. I'm like, here, take them. Because there's no replacement for actual AirPods.
Right.
The intuitive connectivity they have to your
Right.
phone and what they will do. You can't buy an aftermarket something else brand that's anywhere close.
Pause. Have you bought Bose Quiet XLs?
I have Bose over the ear.
No, I'm talking about in-ear. You need to try them.
Well, if I really want to listen to some music, my over the ears, I'll tell you what, like you hear things you never would ever hear. And so, yeah, Bose is great brand, but like the connectivity for, for messages and things like that on your phone. And one thing I like about the AirPods, and maybe there's another one that does this, if you just start talking, they lower the volume automatically and let you have a conversation.
The Bose ones do too.
Okay, that's cool. My over the ear Bose don't do that.
I wish I remembered
And then
which kind I have.
my in-ears are JBLs. I'm probably going to buy myself a pair of them because I used them for like a day and they kept falling out of my ears. And the problem is you try to put them back in your ears. That's what I was thinking about when you said that. You try to push them back in your ears and you wind up stopping the music because you're pushing the
that's
buttons.
frustrating.
It is frustrating.
They're called Bose QC Ultra XLs.
Okay.
Ultra earbuds. That's what I have. They're fantastic.
They make a good product.
Yes,
Our new Suburban has a Bose sound system in it.
Oh, man.
And I was driving with the kids listening to music. I was like, this is really good. Like, I don't know what my truck has, but it's not as good as this.
My wife's sound system is good, but we have to turn the bass all the way off because it hurts her ears.
Oh, no.
I know. It's okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm wearing a hoodie for the only team in Dallas that has a winning record right now.
The Dallas Stars.
Dallas Stars. I bought this hoodie to go to my very first ever Dallas Stars game probably 15 years ago.
Nice.
This is about the only Stars equipment I own.
I don't think I have one anymore. I used to have a mustard yellow hat when I was in middle school, but that's the only thing I have. But yeah, they're 8-4-3, and they're playing right now. They're playing the Kraken. I did get an alert. They're winning 2-1.
Sweet.
But the Mavs suck.
Yeah.
Man, I'm just trying to.
I got thoughts, but go ahead.
I just, when you're. Okay. Nico Harrison needs to be fired. Here's the reason why. First off, you've let's put the dirt or put the Luka trade aside. You alienated the franchise player, which was Dirk. You alienated him. And now Dirk is coming out and is like, man, I feel sorry for the Mavs players. Like he's so disassociated with the franchise that he no longer is associating himself as like a Mav, which makes me so sad.
Yeah.
Then you have Luka playing for the Lakers and they're winning. I mean, they didn't win last night against the Hawks, but like it's so frustrating to watch because it's like every trade you made up until then was perfect. And then it's like you got a little greedy. And instead of just letting it ride out because we're trying to get everybody healthy and letting it ride out, you had to pull the trigger on some blockbuster trade that you thought was going to work out for Anthony Davis. And like nothing against him. Like it's not his fault that this happened.
I don't.
But it's like, come on, man. You had everything gifted to you. Okay? Even if you have a losing season, you're going to sell out because everyone wants to see one person play.
Yeah.
And that's Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
And then you're still making money. And then it's like, oh, it doesn't look like we're going to make the playoffs this year. Oh, Luka, your calf is strained. Let's sit out so we can get a good draft pick, and then let's rebuild next year. But now I feel sorry for Cooper Flagg, man, because it's like, what did I wrote down? They're 3-7. They beat a terrible Wizards team last night, which I watched it in Rockwall. It's just ridiculous. I'm so fed up with it.
I think it's on purpose. I think they're trying to not only have the team lose, but turn the town against them so they can move the team to Vegas.
At this point, I'm okay with it.
I know that was the original.
I know they said they weren't going to do that.
I know it was the original conspiracy theory. It's like, oh, the Adelson family bought it. They're going to move the Mavs to Vegas. I think it's like pretty intentional. I think Nico's job is safe because he's doing what the ownership wants him to do.
If that's the case, then why re-sign Kyrie? Why re-sign Gafford? Why re-sign PJ? I mean, those are good players, and maybe you get some trade value from it, but you don't have a first-round pick next year.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're going to rebuild, like, and then move the team, I mean, I don't know. I
think it'll take a few years, but I'm not going to go as far. I'm going to backtrack a little bit and say I think that is happening, but I'm much more in tune with thinking that's the direction they could be going.
You're right.
But if they do,
right.
I think if they do, the Mavs fans, I am a Mavs fan, but not to the level of lots of people. Will be fine with it because they don't like the family, they don't like Nico. I think with Luka going, they don't associate with the team anymore. And with this ownership group, they're not going to be on their side. So fine, take this franchise, go name it something else, and the NBA is not going to let Dallas go without an NBA team.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
That's a long haul. That's a long play. It'll take years to play out, but that's just my thoughts.
I hope you're wrong, but you're probably right. It is hard to watch, though. Like, it's hard basketball to watch.
Yeah.
Because it's like every time I'm watching the game, like last night, like, I just think, man, Luka would have done different.
Yeah.
He would have made a different play. But
he would have made the difference.
He's a once-in-a-lifetime player, and you were gifted him.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had this happen. So I blame Mark Cuban a little bit, but at the same breath, I'm like, I don't think even Mark knew what was going to happen.
Well, segueing into, we just had an election this week, and thinking about the Adelson family, you know, we talked a little bit about this Texas Senate District 9 race. Lee Wamsgans running, and John Huffman. Those are the two Republicans. And then there was a Democrat also, Taylor something. Sorry. I don't mean to sound negative,
Huffman.
but Taylor Huffman is not going to win. And so there's all the money, a lot of the money was between the two Republicans. So Lee Wamsgan's opponent raised $1.35 million, which is a ton for a Texas state Senate race.
That's a lot of money.
Not the federal, a state senator. 1.2 million of that 1.35 came from the Adelson family.
Ooh.
Because this guy was in their pocket for casino gambling in Texas. So they tried to buy votes for getting casino gambling legalized in Texas. It failed. He got 16% of the vote. Lee Wamsgan's got 36, and then the Democrat Taylor Remmett got 48. So, I think it's still a Republican seat. This goes to a runoff because nobody got 50%. That's the rule in Texas. But that was just one of the races from this past Tuesday, which was not a midterm. It was an off-year election, but I still voted for all 17 of our Texas constitutional amendments. That's all that was on my ballot. None of the school bonds or Vaders or anything were on my ballot. Just all of the constitutional amendments, which were on every Texas ballot. But the Vader we talked about for Rockwall ISD that we sort of talked about a little bit over the last few podcasts did pass. They got their Vader, which allows them to move money out of the maintenance and operations side of school finance and into the other side that can help pay for teacher salaries.
Yeah.
It's the INS one. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Again, as we've said multiple times, school finance is complicated, but the Vader allows them to move money out of a place where they don't need as much and into a place where they do to help pay for teachers. So it did not pass last November in the election year, the presidential election year, but it did pass. So that's, I think, in my opinion, even though I didn't get to vote on it and I don't have kids in Rockwall ISD, I'm glad that it passed for them. I do know a lot of teachers. Have a family member who's a principal at one of those schools, and I'm glad for them. So,
well, yeah, it passed by 54 to 46.
Yep.
I mean, over 20,000 people voted in it. That's a lot.
Yeah, close, but there was, like we said, I mean, this is a hot button issue. There's a lot of chatter.
Yeah, and I do know that the other one down the road passed as well. Greenville ISD's passed.
They got their bond.
Yeah, I was trying to find.
They needed one, man. Schools literally falling apart.
We've talked about this before. And I feel sorry for the people that work there because it's like the maintenance guys, like you can only do so much.
Right.
I noticed multiple school districts in our area did pass. They did pass them. There was one small school a little bit further north that did not, but everybody else did, which is good, sort of.
Yeah.
I mean, the real issue like is going to be like a McKinney ISD. I don't know, are you paying attention to what's going on up there?
Mm-hmm.
And like they closed down 3 elementaries. And as the suburban flight happens further east, you're going to see this more and more, where the bigger schools that were suburban of Dallas, now we're creating suburbans to the suburbans, or suburbs to the suburbs. And when you have that happen, these schools that have always been big are going to have to start contracting a little bit. And that's just natural progression. I mean, I hate it for those schools, especially the ones that have been around for a very, very long time and have a long history. And McKinney is proposing selling off the buildings, which, I mean, I guess you could do that. That's a great way to do it, I guess, if you're looking at it from a business perspective.
Yeah, there's so much growth in this area, and this is further down the run sheet. But did you see Abbott saying he's going to put a 100% tariff on any New Yorkers fleeing New York because of Mondami? Is that not the dumbest thing you've ever heard, at least this past week?
Oh, man, I don't know. I've heard a lot of dumb things this week, but it's one of them.
Okay, first of all, there's so many issues. First of all, how would you do that? Someone's moving here from New York. We're going to put 100% of what? What are you going to tariff? And then these people are leaving New York because they don't like socialist democrat government and they want to come to your state because they know your state doesn't have a socialist democratic government, and you're going to punish them for that? It is one of the dumbest things, if not the dumbest thing I heard this past week. And I listened to a lot of Zoran Mondami speeches this past week, so I've heard a lot of dumb things. And I think Greg Abbott, the governor of the state of Texas, takes the cake.
That was dumb.
For that
He should
idea.
not have said that.
He is literally just trying to ride Trump coattails by using the word tariff and getting the news.
Right.
And I understand what he's doing. I understand he's a politician, but I cannot stand it when people do that. Yeah. Especially when you propose a dumb idea. If you're going to like ride coattails and use a buzzword to try to get yourself in the news, at least let it be a somewhat okay or good idea that might possibly work. But I read a couple news articles after he said it. Maybe more has come out. But even the news articles I read after he said it was like, well, Governor Abbott has still not mentioned what he would tariff or what this would actually mean in real life. Like,
yeah. He was just saying things to say things, trying to be relevant. It's like you said here. He sees DeSantis falling by the wayside, and he's still trying to be relevant.
That's the thing. And did you see Rubio says he'll support Vance?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
I saw that. I saw we're kind of all over the place at this exact moment, but I saw a article that was talking about presidential candidates, and it was like 30. It was in the 30s for Vance. And then Newsom was in the upper 20s as a percentage chance of running. And like Rubio was in there. DeSantis was in there. Yeah. Kamala Harris was in there. Yes. They threw AOC and Bernie in there. All the staples all the people that are in the stable at the moment.
I feel like Bernie doesn't give it another go. We've kind of talked about that before. I'm not sure if AOC will be on there. I almost feel like AOC feels like she's better served exactly where she is.
Agreed.
I think Newsom's running.
What about a Newsom-Harris ticket?
I think Kamala Harris is running again. Unless something just happens. Unless somebody just sits her down and says no. And it would take Obama to do that.
I don't know. I don't know that she'll listen.
Unless someone sits her down and just says, you ain't getting it. And she comes to those terms and whatever. I think she's running again. I think you'll have Vance. I think Rubio may just sit as Secretary of State because he said the front runner is J.D. Vance, and that's who I plan to support. Like the way too early endorsement. But speaking of Obama, I'm going to play this real quick, then we can go back to Mondami if you want to.
I do want to talk about Mondami.
I saw this. It came across as an Instagram reel, and so I found the video so I could put it up. The Democrats don't have this. I'm setting up the video. Okay. This is Obama on this past Tuesday in Chicago, voting like millions of other people did on Tuesday. And just this guy's style and moxie and communication skill and the ability to be cool. The Democrats do not have this guy. Gavin Newsom's trying to be this guy.
He can't be, though. We both know
There
that.
is this is not political. It's not policy. Talking about any of that. But this is one of the reasons Obama was elected twice.
Voting is not only a civic duty, it can be fun, a chance to socialize with your neighbors. Well, watch as Mike Jones takes that chance with one of his neighbors during early voting in Chicago. Yes, that was Mike Jones.
You got to read the
telling
subtitles.
President
It's kind of hard to hear
United
Obama.
States
He's not
to
mic'd.
keep his hands off his girlfriend, Aya Cooper.
I really wasn't planning on it.
I'm sorry, please
I
excuse
know.
him.
Now, there's an example of a brother just embarrassing you for no reason.
Embarrassing.
Just for no reason whatsoever.
I knew he was going to say something smart, but I didn't know what he was going to say.
And now you'll be going back home and talking to your friends about could not believe. What's his name?
Mike.
I can't believe Mike. He is such a fool.
He really is.
Oh, I was just mortified.
She's having a conversation with the president.
Fortunately, the president was nice about it.
I'm freaking out.
He was nice about it, but the president couldn't resist a parting shot.
You're gonna kiss him, give him something to talk about.
Take care
Now
of
he
yourself.
really jokes.
Just
They definitely don't. They don't have that smooth
No.
talking. Like, can you imagine if that was Gavin Newsom?
No.
Or what? Hold on. What would former President Joe Biden have done to that young lady when he walked by her?
Oh,
He would have given
Lord.
her this.
He'd give a good sniff to the hair.
Yeah, he would have given a good
Well,
sniff.
he wouldn't have heard what the guy said walking by, first of all. And he, listen, give credit
But
where
here's
credit,
the
give credit
thing.
where credit is due. Obama is smooth.
Here's the thing. You remove Biden from this conversation, okay? Trump would have responded very similarly. Bush would have responded very similarly. Clinton would have responded the same way.
Yeah.
Like they all would have had something clever.
We shouldn't talk about how
Well,
Clinton would have
it's
responded.
Probably not. But my point
Offered her a
is
job.
the my point is that there would have been what you can't see on the podcast is Clint almost spit out his soda right then when he said that. But they all would have had
myself up.
they all would have had something similar to say. You know what I mean? And then Biden would have made it really, really creepy.
Yeah. I'll say they all would have played it off. Trump would have been Trump,
Yeah. Well, and I just think too it was.
But I still think out of all of them, no one would have had, if we watched a video of all of them respond to that, Obama still would have been the best.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I agree with you exactly. All right, let's pop back up. I know on our run sheet we were all over the place at the moment, but let's hop up to the Mondami.
Yeah.
He wins with 50.4% of the election votes. Cuomo had 41.6%, and I can't say this guy's name.
Curtis
Sliwa got 7.1%.
Which is flat out ridiculous. Now, here's the thing. Mondami still got over 50% of the vote. So add up Cuomo, add up Curtis Sliwa, Mondami still wins by a razor-thin margin.
Right.
But do some of those people not vote for Mondami if they have only one other choice? If they don't just I feel like some people voted for Mondami because they knew he was going to win. Since it was split three ways. And also New York Democrats. Andrew Cuomo. What was it? 16 sexual assault allegations against this guy. He gets asked about it in a debate. I saw this clip. And he doesn't just flat out say, it's not true, I didn't do it. He has to say, they failed to prosecute. Because he can't say.
That is the most political.
This is the
politician
guy
answer of all time.
You have Zoran Mondami, actual Democrat socialist. And you're like, all right, we're going to put up Andrew Cuomo, former governor who killed grandma during COVID. 16 or something like that. I don't know how many. Several sexual assault allegations when he was in office. Do you have no one else? Honestly, I'd feel like anyone else, even with Curtis Lewa taking his 7% of the vote, could have come in and beat Zoran Mondami if it wasn't that guy.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. It's kind of the
Isn't
same.
Hillary a New Yorker still?
I
I mean, she was a senator from New York. I think she still lives there.
I don't know the answer to that question.
Put Hillary up. She beats Mondami. Probably.
Uh,
In New York?
maybe. I just think that there was such a push for some kind of change.
Yeah.
And Bill Maher had a great clip, and Andrew Schultz talked about it as well, that like anyone who's lived there 10 years or less, the vote for Mondami was well over 50%.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody who's lived there 10 years
interesting.
or more
Yeah.
voted for Cuomo.
Yeah.
And Schultz made a great point, and something that I didn't really think about, because it's like I don't see the big city as some people see the big city,
Yeah.
because we live in an area where I don't want to go to the big city.
Mm-hmm.
Like the big city's coming this way, and I'm like fretting to get out of here.
Right.
So he said that people who have been here less than 10 years still live on the dream that they can make it. And the way that they can make it is if they just had this little bit of help.
Mm-hmm.
And he said people who have been here longer than that understand that it's a fight every day to live in New York City.
Yeah.
And if you don't see that, then you're not a true New Yorker. And I was like, man, I guess I'd never thought of that perspective
Mm-hmm.
before, because you're still living that dream of like, oh man, I can make it here.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess because we don't live in a city like that, like if you live in, New Jersey, or you live in Pennsylvania and you go and you visit New York and you're like, man, all my dreams can come true if I just get to the city.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we understand that here.
Yeah.
And so, like, I was also doing a little bit of research. I don't know if you want to talk more about the policies of Mondami or kind of some of the things he said this week. But, like, some of the things that he's coming out and saying, like, I saw a clip, and I thought it was AI, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah.
Oh, pause. Did we talk about my students in AI?
Mm-mm.
We got to bring that back up here in just a minute.
All right.
But he comes out and he's like, a couple of weeks ago, how I said, don't send us any more money. Well, now we need it. And I'm like, wait a minute. Didn't you just run a campaign on how we have all the money and we just got to get it?
Yeah.
So like, well, if you'll keep supporting our cause, we can get our stuff done quicker. So then I did a little bit of research on like we learned a lot about state governors and the city mayors during COVID.
Mhm.
Like we learned
Yep.
the power of those people. And we learned that some were very good at being those things and some were not. And so like I looked up like what can the mayor do of New York, what can they do? So basically they can appoint the city council, which can then push through some policies. But then I was watching and listening to a newscast that said that like that can take up to 2 years.
Mhm.
Well, he's only in there for a 4-year term.
Yeah.
And so like the joke has been is like it's going to take till 2027
Uh-huh.
for them to even get these policies passed. Well, then he came out with another video and it was talking about like he was standing in front of like a construction site of a building that was behind him. And he was saying like, if the landlords don't fix this building, then, we're going to take it from them.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I don't like that statement. I don't like that statement. Well, then I was like, okay, how does rent freeze? How does that work?
Mm-hmm.
Well, apparently if it was built in 1980 or sooner, and it was actually like, I can't remember the exact date, but it was like 78-ish. So if it was built in the 1980s or before, the rent can't be frozen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's any building that's older where the rent can be frozen.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, how many buildings are there that are built in that? And it was like less than 100,000 tenants.
Okay.
So like there's a lot of people that live in New York City. We didn't write it down, but like a couple million people voted.
Yeah.
I don't know that. I wonder how many people understand that if you live in a newer building, your rent is not going to be frozen.
Yeah.
And so I'm just wondering about that. Like I'm assuming a lot about the voter of New York.
Yeah, but is it not possible to change that law?
I don't know. But like you
But
just
that still takes time, like you're saying.
it's going to take time. And like as soon as they don't see relief immediately, like the people who need the relief immediately, it's going to go bad
Right.
very quickly.
I will be paying attention to what actually changes and who actually leaves. I kind of lean towards the side of things to say, I don't know that it's going to be as horrible as Doomsday as people make it out.
I don't
to
think
be.
it's going to be that either.
You know, like he is still somewhat limited on what you can do, but the big picture idea is tax the rich, which in this case are the large corporations, which I would be really surprised if they actually leave New York, because you've got to have New York is a center of business, and I don't think the election of Zoran Mondami is going to change that. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think J.P. Morgan is leaving New York.
No.
You know, I just don't think. I don't think Wall Street is leaving New York.
No.
So you tax them more, all right? You get your funds, and you start making stuff free, and that's what I meant when we talked about it last week. Like, it takes time to do that. Your average voter isn't going to feel that pain when Wall Street is taxed more. They're going to start seeing the free stuff. And then it takes time for, like Margaret Thatcher said, for you to start feeling the pain of standing in a bucket and trying to lift yourself up by the handle.
Right.
It doesn't last.
Right.
It has a honeymoon, though.
Yeah.
And it's going to have a honeymoon for some voters. So if he's able to get some things done, I say he gets reelected in 4 years. Then I think maybe we see what happens at that next election.
Yeah. In that second one.
Yeah.
Well, I just think too, like, if you voted for this guy and he doesn't immediately have change. We talked about this with Trump too. The second go around for Trump was very important that he gets something done very, very quickly because he made big promises. And so far, he's fulfilled almost every single one of them with the exception of the Ukrainian war.
Yeah.
I mean, off the top of my head, I didn't write his agenda down, but off the top of my head, I can't think of one that he hasn't at least attempted to end or fix. He's done every single one of them. And so you've made these campaign promises now. If it could go the opposite direction too. I don't know that there's a positive for the Democratic Party in this though, because it could go one way, like where it could go where he is successful and you start to see this happen. But I feel like it could go the polar opposite as well.
Yeah.
To where it doesn't work, you know, like I was watching interviews like with, I think it's because we talked about it. It got into my algorithm of like shopkeepers.
Yeah.
Being street interviewed by these shopkeepers where whoever the interviewer walks in and is like, hey, what happened? Or the interviewer walks in and is like, hey, what do you think? He was like, well, we've had this before, so we'll just wait it out.
Yep.
You know, if we got to
very
close
apathetic.
Shop, yeah, if we got to close up shop, we got to close up shop. And then there were some guys that were like, well, I'll just move.
Yeah.
You know, if he's going to make everything free, then I'll shut it. I'll close my shop up. And this is the only grocery store in this area.
Yeah.
So what do you want me to do?
Right.
So I think that there's some of that too. But I also think that with the government shutdown that's now ended and some other things that have happened. Well, sort of. We'll talk about that in a second. But like they were trying to shine a light on the Democratic Party away from that. And so I was like, oh, let's try this. But did you also see in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, the guy that was being pushed by Amani, I think is her name. He was also a Democratic socialist and he lost in a landslide.
Yeah. So
when you are in a place that is not quite as far left as you think, and I don't think New York is. I mean, you wrote it down here. Cuomo won Staten Island, but he won Manhattan, Bronx, Brooklyn, and Queens.
Yeah.
I mean, that says a lot too.
Yeah. I think this does tie into shutdown, and I'll make the connection here, and we can keep talking about it. For me, looking back at this past Tuesday and the flips, you know, Virginia governor.
He's a piece of garbage.
From
Jesus Christ.
Wrong guy.
The governor? I thought that was the governor.
Virginia? Oh, that was the AG, Jay Jones.
Oh, yeah.
He also won.
Jesus
the one that
Christ.
made the text
I can't believe he won.
The one that made the text about also killing his opponent and his opponent's children. 2 bullets.
Can we talk about that for just a second before we go down your point? Like, and I'm sorry, I did not mean to cut you off.
No.
But like, this also shows you that most people don't pay attention.
Yeah.
Like, I promise you, if you went and you read those text messages to someone who voted for that person, unless they, maybe there's a few, but if you went and you're like, hey, would you vote for this person? And
Yeah.
you read what they said, and they would be like, yes. I'm like, okay, well, then you have other issues that we need to discuss.
Yeah.
But he's the incumbent, correct? He was the incumbent?
No.
Jay Jones
it was
wasn't?
it was a new election.
Jesus Christ, that makes it even worse than what I thought. I thought he was the incumbent. That ruins my point, because I was going to say he's just the incumbent, so they voted for him.
No, he was new.
Man, you're just, I don't know. That changes my opinion about that. Sorry.
I'll hit on that too, but it's definitely people not paying attention, but I think there's plenty of people who knew about the text. And the governor who won was a Democrat. Abigail Spanberger beat Winsome Earl Sears because Glenn Youngkin was out, who was a Republican. So it did flip Virginia Republican governor to Democrat governor. What she said about it was, in an interview, was, well, you know, some texts from years ago have come out, and, you know, I denounced those texts, but she never asked him to get out of the race. And then she said, these texts are from 3 years ago, and they've just been holding on to them. And had they brought these texts to light sooner, we could have had someone else on the ballot, basically. She didn't actually come out and say that, because now she's got to work with him. He's now her AG. But that was kind of what she alluded to. So I think there's a lot of people who do pay attention. I mean, there's plenty who don't. But I think there's a lot of people who do pay attention, knew about the text, but kind of took that attitude of, well, that's just their October surprise, you know, that they're trying to bring up. And there's these are old texts that they drummed up. I don't think so, man. You say that about somebody, like about the kids too.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think generally this past Tuesday, blue states elected Democrats. And you can, you know, I was commenting on a friend's status who lives in Kentucky, and there was a couple of people who live in Virginia saying, well, we're not a blue state, we're a purple state. I'm like, I don't think you are. I sort of, but I think Virginia, because of the people moving out of D.C., which is not affordable, the government bureaucrats, I think Virginia is going to be pretty solidly blue. It's definitely a darker purple than red. So I think, and New Jersey governor, of course. Like, New Jersey's a blue state. They have a Democrat governor. Okay. In general, I think that's what happened for this past Tuesday. But I think that the Republicans that was the big thing, is that the Democrats are saying the country has rejected the Republicans because of the shutdown, and they went to the ballot box on Tuesday, and they're mad at the Republicans for the shutdown. I don't think that's 100% wrong.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, like, the Republicans can be right, and I do believe that they are, because the Republicans have proposed a clean continuing resolution without anything added to it. That's what they have proposed. So you can't say that they're in the wrong for that. The Democrats are the ones who are adding, you know, pretty
Controversial.
Yes, that's the word I'm trying to say.
Usually it's me.
Legislation to the continuing resolution, adding on things, which in the past, when the Democrats have gotten mad at the Republicans to doing that thing, they've called them all kinds of names for doing it. Well, you're doing the same thing you said was wrong in the past.
Right.
Adding things, adding pet projects to continuing resolutions, and then shutting down the government whenever they don't pass. The Republicans can be in the right on this and still lose the battle, because they are in power in every area of government. They have the House, they have the Senate, and they have the presidency. And even if you don't understand how all that works, and that you need 60 votes to get it through, and they don't have 60 votes in the Senate, even if you understand that, the Republicans are the ones in charge. The government's been shut down 40 days. They're the ones who, and I think, you know, literally 2 minutes when we started setting stuff up and getting ready to record, which is great. This, you know, John Thune comes out and says the caucus has agreed, which is still not the full Senate, but basically they've talked to enough Democrat senators to vote yes and get this thing passed and get the government reopened. But they've attached amendments to the House bill. This whole time, if you keep wondering why it's only Senate votes, it's because the House has passed the continuing resolution. It has passed the House. It's gone to the Senate, and the Senate is the one that needs 60 votes.
Right.
And you've been getting anywhere from 53 to 54 votes. All the votes. They've been taking 2 or 3 a week ever since the shutdowns happened. They took 2 this week. You got 53 on one of them, 54 on the other one, but you didn't get your 60. Now John Thune is saying we have it, but they had to attach amendments, and one of the things they had to attach is when the shutdown happened, Trump threatened this, and he did it. He fired some federal employees. So we're going to trim the workforce, use this as an opportunity to trim the workforce, and one of the amendments is all of them get rehired and get back pay. Well, that's not in the House version. So
now they got to go back and vote on it.
But they're not saying, they're not saying this and coming out and saying that the shutdown's over without having talked to Mike Johnson in the House and knowing they have the votes to get that passed as well. So everybody is saying, nobody's voted yet, but everybody is saying, yes, I'll vote for that. Both in the Senate, enough people, and in the House, enough people. If Trump signs it and hires back the people he fired, then the government shutdown's over.
I think he will.
I think he will. I think he should.
So here's what...
Because the sticking issue this whole time that the Republicans said they would not cave on, they did not cave on. The Affordable Care Act, COVID subsidies will expire, will not be renewed. I thought our resolution out of this, and I put on the run sheet before this happened, before we got the news, Clint thinks this is the last week of the shutdown. Well, it turns out probably
the
is.
last day.
Probably is. It'll take a few days to get everything voted on and signed, but
it says here from Unusual Wells, which is a Twitter account that's very, very reputable. It says the agreement funds the government through January 30th and schedules a December vote on the Affordable Health Care Act bill.
Mm-hmm.
It reverses the Trump's firing, and then also ensures food stamps will be funded through the fiscal year of 2026.
Yeah, so it's got 3 additional amendments that'll have to go back to the House, and I think the House will approve those. But here's the thing on those COVID subsidies is I have engaged with a few people over the last couple of weeks, not successfully because I never am, but saying this is not getting rid of the ACA or getting rid of the ACA subsidies. It's just getting them back to what they were pre-COVID. But understand this, pre-COVID, 12 million people were on Obamacare with subsidies.
Right.
It's over 24 million after COVID.
Right.
It more than doubled.
Right.
When they expanded those subsidies.
Right.
So 12 million people who were able to go out and get their own health insurance pre-COVID, then, because you've got, a family of 4 could be making $130,000, $140,000. Like we talked about the numbers on the pod a couple weeks ago, and be getting their full health care paid for, making a well into 6-figure salary. And I just don't think the government should be paying for health care forever. If you need a little help in the meantime, sure. But I don't think the government should be paying for health care forever.
What do you think about what they floated out this week about the HSAs?
I don't see it.
So basically what they were going to,
are you talking about this? Yeah, instead of going to the insurance companies?
Accounts. Yeah. The problem is, as I understand it, is the market has shrunk so small because they've allowed uninsurable people to now be insured that it's taken out a lot of those small insurance companies to be able to fund that. So, the idea is a good one.
Right.
The idea is a good one. And I just think that, if this is true, obviously we're current events, but we're also like a week behind current events.
Yeah. We'll have more to say about this next week.
I think it'll be...
if the votes actually happen and Trump actually signs it.
I think you're right. I think he will do that. I think he will sign that. I think it ends this week.
I do. But
especially with this news. I think you were right about that. I think that you have to...
I just think when we get to the midterms and when we have another nationwide vote, maybe even when we get to the primaries in March, which is like March 3rd, it's coming up quick. I think when people who are on the fence and the undecideds think about the shutdown, more of them than not will blame the GOP, will blame Republicans. I think it got to that point just because they were the ones in power. I understand for the ones who pay attention, that doesn't make sense. And that's my segue back to what you were saying before. There's so many people who don't pay attention and don't understand the inner workings of the Republicans are actually the ones who proposed a clean continuing resolution with nothing added to it.
But that also goes back to what your algorithm is. So
True.
I was watching I think it was the guy that's, we've talked about him before, Jared or something Dudley. He's the retired veteran that makes like the response videos to something that's crazy.
Justin Danger, not me.
Justin Danger. And it's this guy, he's speaking at like a city council thing, and he's like, all of my videos are AI large Latina women. And it comes back to him and it's like, who wants to tell him that's what his algorithm says? Who wants to tell him?
That's awesome.
And it's like, but like that goes back to politics too, because I find like sometimes I'll get down my algorithm and I'm like, man, I got to reset my algorithm. I got to look at funny cat videos for a little while, because it's like, like it's all very, very far right or very, very far left. And then it kind of comes back into the middle sometimes. But it's like when you're in that echo chamber and you don't realize you're in that echo chamber, you only hear one side.
Yeah.
And that's hard too, because you have to recognize that you're in that echo chamber. Because if you don't, you could get some wild stuff.
Yeah.
But you got to reset your algorithm. Okay. On to something fun. Nancy Pelosi retires. Can we please play the clip first?
Okay.
Can we please play the clip first?
This
So-
is golden.
I think we have the Bush one, the George W. Bush. I thought I put it on there. Maybe I didn't.
No, this is the only one.
Okay, here we go. Let's watch this one first, and we'll kind of talk about it, and I'll kind of.
Shut up. I did not refuse the National Guard. The president didn't send it. Why are you...
So it's Nancy Pelosi, 400 years in Congress, and it shows her ripping up Trump's speech, her kneeling with an African scarf. Then she almost falls out of the seat.
Pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
That's Obamacare.
Yeah.
Glorious day possible. That's an applause line. E pluribus unum, from anyone. And so I said, from anyone.
He won't be missed.
Daily Wire.
Yeah. So I also found I reshared it on our Twitter. On our TikTok. It was like when George W. Bush introduced her as the first, female
Right.
House of Representatives, Speaker of the House, and it was an amazing video. Honestly, like regardless of what I think it was like 2007. Regardless of what you think about her now, like her nomination of being the Speaker of the House was a huge deal. Was a huge deal, and like it was kind of interesting too, because you didn't really recognize her up to that point.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, she didn't. I just had that image of her tearing up Trump's speech,
Yeah.
and just a complete disrespect and disregard for the office of the president. Whereas in that moment,
Yeah.
George W. Bush was who obviously they had polar opposite views on politics, understood the moment and took the moment in and gave it a great, gave her the thing that she was due.
Yeah, she had 2 4-year terms as Speaker, and both of them spanned across presidential changes. So she was the last 2 years of W. Bush, first 2 years of Obama. So what you just referenced, and then when she talked about we're going to have to pass the bill so you can read to see what's in it. That was the Affordable Care Act,
Right.
which she passed as Speaker of the House with Obama in 2009. And then she was there for Trump into Biden. Trump in his first term, as many presidents do, I hope doesn't happen this time, but as many presidents do, the tide goes the other way
Right.
after they're in the office for 2 years. And so she won those midterms, then into Biden's first 2 years. I don't agree with it just about anything she's ever done. I mean, I'm sure I don't. There may be something out there. Who knows? Some bland thing that got passed by Congress. She was very good at what she did. For her to be a liberal Democrat Speaker of the House, she did her job very well.
Agreed.
100%. San Francisco Democrat. You almost can't fault her for
She did very, very well financially as well.
Yeah, she did.
I saw she had 16,000% growth in her stocks
Do you
since
see
she took office.
the Babylon Bee said Nancy Pelosi is now resigning to outsider trading instead of insider trading, which she's been doing in Congress this whole time. I wonder if that was enough pressure for her to go ahead and retire and get out.
I think
because everybody's making a big deal out about it. The guy that follows her trades,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, that's that Unusual Wells.
Yeah.
He's one of them.
Uh-huh.
And they posted on there as well. I just think that you got to give her some props for playing the political game and doing it very, very well. She probably stayed, just like most politicians, she probably stayed about 8 years too long.
Yes.
She probably should have gotten out a long time ago because she made some.
Like I say, I want to give everybody 12 years. 2 terms for senators, 6 for Congress, and then you're done.
Yeah, that's enough.
She was in there a long time.
She was in there a long time.
You know, she impeached Trump twice. The first one over Russia hoax, which now was completely made up, and now they're investigating, and more indictments and grand jury subpoenas came down this week.
And she may be one of them.
And she impeached him for January 6th, which, did you see the article this week that one of the pipe bombers had a 94% match to this former Capitol Police officer who now works for the CIA?
I saw the article. I just have such a hard time wrapping my brain around all that.
Yeah.
Honestly. Like I struggle because it's like you heard such crazy things and you're like, you saw the narrative go one way and you're like, okay, I kind of see where that's at. And then now the narrative is swinging the other way. Like now there's even questions about Mike Pence. Did you see that video that came out this week about him receiving the gold coins on the stand?
Yeah.
After he voted. And it's like, where does that play into it? Like it could have just been he was just being given something.
Yeah, I don't know about all that.
That's
like
all a conspiracy. You know what I mean?
I tend to believe more of what Kash Patel says. I know there's plenty of people on the other side who won't. But, you know, like they said in the beginning, yeah, we had like a dozen FBI agents in the crowd, like doing their normal work. And then turns out it was 271 or some number like that.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of people compared to the crowd, you know?
Right.
And like Rogan brings this up all the time since they're Rogan Bros about like you have the videos of being led around the inside of the Capitol.
Right.
I'll say like what we've said 100 times over. Were there bad actors in that crowd? Absolutely. Were there people in there who should not have done things that they did? Yes. 100%. Were there a lot of people who just got caught up in something that they shouldn't have gotten caught up in and they're just generally good people? Yes. Yeah. I believe the majority of them. If you remove the bad actors, the people that took it way too far, and all the FBI and CIA in the crowd,
right?
I think everybody else are just like good old Trump supporting voters who showed up on January 6th to protest and have their voices heard, and they got caught up in some stuff. And unfortunately, a lot of those people spent 4 years in jail, in prison.
Yeah, and I just think it was time for her to go.
Yeah.
But she's staying till the end of her term.
So another politician leaving, Dick Cheney, passed away this week. This guy, like, I believe strongly, like I really hate speaking ill of the dead. Like the guy passed away. He served his country. Chief of staff to Ford, defense secretary to H.W. Bush, and then W's vice president. But him endorsing and voting for Kamala Harris, like that is a stain on his legacy that'll be really hard for me to ever get over.
I'd forgotten about that.
Like how, like it's one thing to be like, oh, Dick Cheney, funny guy, shot his friend out bird hunting one day. And Iraq war guy. Like, but that'll be really hard for me to not think about that when I try to think of like Dick Cheney and what his legacy means. That's a step too far. You can be W. Bush and not like Trump.
Right.
100%.
And not having to, like, don't vocalize your opinion.
Right. You can be that. But to endorse Kamala Harris, like, that's not even just endorsing a Democrat.
But
that's
I think
Kamala Harris?
Do you think it has more to do with the fact that Trump was trying to take down the big government establishment?
Yes, 100%. I've always said that. Like, even Liz Cheney, you know, big old chairwoman of the January 6th committee. I've said that before. Like, I don't think they actually like Kamala Harris. I think they are Republicans, but I think they're warmongers.
Yeah.
And they knew Trump wasn't going to make them any money.
That's fair.
That's what I think. And I mean, that's who Dick Cheney was for Ford, H.W. Bush, and definitely W. Bush. Expanding the power of the executive, war powers of the executive. You know, whatever in the heck happened with Iraq and WMDs and all of that. I mean, Cheney was the driving force behind all of that when it comes to the military.
Yeah.
And looking back, I got some questions. Like,
There'll be a book written about it.
there has been.
I know, but there'll be more
Now
that
there-
come out.
Yeah.
There'll be more. And it'll be, now that some of that stuff is passed, and it'll be interesting to see what happens when W passes,
Mm-hmm.
to see how the stories change and the narrative goes. Because you'll see more of that stuff come out.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, you know, history will tell that story differently than what we have it right now.
It just makes you really look at Trump 1.0 versus Trump 2.0. And like he said about the people he had around him. I mean, W was in that camp too.
Yeah.
The people he had around him. And when Dick Cheney is your vice president, you're going to war.
Yeah. You don't have a choice.
No.
And I think too, like, I wonder, this is complete speculation. I wonder, after what we've now are removed 20 plus years from 9/11, I wonder what Condoleezza Rice thinks
Mhm.
about all this.
Mm-hmm.
And she's written a couple of books, but not about that.
Yeah. She's been very quiet.
Yes,
She's a chancellor at Stanford.
I think so. It's a
Uh,
California one.
yeah.
I thought it was either that or UCLA. I think it's Stanford.
I think it's Stanford, yeah.
So I just think it'll be interesting to see how history tells a story about Dick Cheney.
Yeah. It makes my conspiracy theorist friends who are the 9/11 deniers. It's like you look at this and it's like, you know, there is a pathway to where that can
Yeah.
make sense.
Yeah.
Whenever Dick Cheney gets in office, and then you have such a huge event to send us to war, like unapologetically. That happens, we are going to war. There's no questions about it.
Yeah. I still can't go down that path.
No, I'm not there. But I'm saying there is you can string together.
Oh, for sure.
A narrow path to get there.
For sure. For sure. Almost as narrow as Kim Kardashian passing the bar exam.
I
Or
saw
almost
that,
passing.
too.
Like, I'm just trying to make you laugh now.
Oh my gosh. She was like, she wants to sue ChatGPT.
Yes. She was a sue ChatGPT because she failed the bar exam.
All of your students need to read that story. That want to use ChatGPT to do their schoolwork.
In other news, Trump is working with pharma companies to cut the cost of Ozempic. First, there's wild stories that go around with this. First off, for those that don't know what Ozempic is the GLP-1 drug that is also a appetite suppressor, but also helps with not blood sugar. That's what I was going to say. Diabetes, and then helps
Wilford Brimley.
and then helps with weight loss. If you need the medicine, it works great.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you don't need the medicine, it doesn't. It does cause. There are some things that it causes. Mark Cuban has come out and praised Trump for this,
Mm-hmm.
and said this is needed to happen for some time. Also, they are also working on insulin cost reduction. During this meeting, there is
Oval Office press conference.
Oval Office press conference, and a gentleman collapsed.
Yeah.
I never did hear exactly what.
He was I don't know what it was, but he was some undersecretary for the HHS.
Yeah, he was
And
a CEO.
RFK walks out.
He walked out. He left.
Now he said he was going to get a wet towel and a chair, and I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but it does look a little odd on
Yeah.
the camera because Caroline Leavitt and them are like reporters get out of the room. They're like standing in front of them, like
Yeah.
moving them out, and RFK's like
Well, and
he didn't even Homer Simpson into the bushes on that. He just like turned and walked.
left. Well, and it helped. It can't, like, this is where my brain goes, right? Because I'm also watching Death by Lightning, and it's the assassination of Garfield. It's on Netflix. I'm only one episode in, so I don't have a good vibe on it just yet. So I'll report back. But it's like, when we just had a major assassination less than a month and a half ago, and now a guy who's in the Oval Office just collapses out of nowhere, I immediately thought, I thought he's getting out of there because he thinks something's going on. That's what his facial expression said, was just fear. Like, I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
And then when Trump kind of just turns to him like, are you okay? Like not even a bit of concern, but like not really reacting.
Uh-huh.
I was like, okay, did you just pass out?
Yeah.
Just
I
passed out.
haven't
Probably
heard
had his
anything.
knees locked too long.
That's
He
what
was
I
not
mean.
in marching band where you have to stand at attention with your knees bent a little bit,
Yeah.
brother. Keep them knees bent.
I don't know what it was. Maybe he just didn't eat anything that day. I mean, I'm sure, like, if you're an undersecretary and you know you're going to be in the Oval for a press conference with Trump,
nervous.
you probably had eaten nothing, and he probably just locked his knees and went out. But
Got nervous.
I don't care that RFK walked out, but man, they made a big deal
They did
about
make a
that.
big
The-
deal
the
about it.
the haters hated on that one, and I was like, y'all, like,
It's not that big.
follow
a deal.
that through to its logical end. What does it mean if he did just walk out? Like,
Nothing.
what was he going to provide help wise?
Yeah, he's not a doctor.
No, they like to bring that up.
But I think the thing that was astonishing to me, and I put this on the
Yeah.
run sheet, is that RFK predicts that within 5 years, Americans will lose 125 million pounds.
Yeah.
That is wild. That's a lot of weight. And I think it goes back to the make America healthy again, is the cost reduction.
Mm-hmm.
Just the amount of cost that this is going to reduce on the medical healthcare, in the healthcare industry, because you're removing all of that from people who need it.
Mhm.
Or I don't know. I don't want to judge but it's just like, man, that seems like a lot.
125 million pounds.
125 million pounds is a lot of weight.
Where's it going to go?
I don't know. I don't know. So I want to circle back to my AI story.
Okay. All
So are you sure I didn't tell you this? Because
right. I don't think so. You can start it and I'll let you know.
I'm pretty sure I thought it. So I was showing a video last week of the Chicago race riots, and one of my students goes, "Man, that's really good AI video." And I was like, "What?" She goes, "Yeah, that was really, really good. Where'd you find that?" I was like, "Hold on. Hold on. This is a room full of 30 kids-ish, 28 kids." And I said, "Raise your hand. How many of you think this is AI?" And it was like half the class. They're like, "Well, we didn't have video back then." I'm like,
then.
guys, this is, I mean, I realize it's like the 1920s, this is 1919 when this is happening, but there was video. And this is not AI. This is a primary source.
Yeah.
So now I think I'm going to
It
have to
doesn't say
clarify.
Sora on there.
It doesn't say Sora on there. But like, they were just blown away by the fact that something happened 100 years ago could have been on video.
Mhm.
Now, it wasn't great quality or anything like
Sure.
that, but still, they thought that this video was AI. So I'm going to be interested to see. I may take a poll as we show videos and
Yeah.
say, okay, guys, do you think this is AI or if this is not? But then I'm going to have to throw some AI in there at some point.
Hmm.
But it's kind of amazing to me that they don't. They really are struggling. Now, there's the obvious ones that are AI, but some of them are getting really good. I
No,
can't even
they're
tell the difference.
Really good. I was watching one the other day and I didn't see the little Sora badge pop up. It pops up for like a second.
Yeah.
And it was hilarious. It was talking about trying to reset your algorithm. It was a cat blown away in a tornado.
Yeah, I saw that one.
It's a Sora video.
Oh,
And I was showing
man.
it to my daughter. I was like, this is hilarious. Watch this. Because she loves cats. So I like to antagonize her that way, you know? And she was like, oh, that's AI. It's okay. And I was like, wait, it is? She got me. I'm a boomer over here.
Oh,
I thought I had a real video.
yep. You're
It's
falling into
hilarious.
that category.
I am.
I really like the football ones where it's like the really big guy and he's like running down the field. Have you seen those?
Yeah.
It's hilarious. It makes me laugh every time. All right, a real quick smoke sessions. Not a ton happening in the news. There's a couple of news articles I put at the bottom, and I didn't know if you actually knew anything about them. The first one that came to mind, because I did go to the store this week, was Target's new 10-4 rule for customer service.
Mhm.
Okay, so when a guest is within 10 feet, you have to make eye contact and smile. Then when
It's going to be real hard
within
for some people.
4 feet, you have to verbally greet them. You must say, "Hi, can I help you find something?" So I read this article like midweek, and so we happened to go to there, and I thought I'm walking around the store, and I'm trying not to. I've been thinking about how I could say this on the podcast without coming off as rude, but the demographic of people that work there in some cases don't fit that mold, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, this person is not going to make eye contact with me. So I'm like intentionally trying to make eye contact with them.
This is my nightmare. I've already, I mean,
You had an epic rant about this about Home Depot.
Rant about Home Depot. I was, we talked about HEB last week, and I was on my way home today, and we needed a couple things because it got cold today, and we wanted to make chili. So I had to grab just a couple things so we can make it happen. And so I was going to run into HEB because I was coming down through Rockwall, and I was like, it's another opportunity to go to HEB. I'm going to take it.
Right.
There was not a single parking spot.
Oh,
there were people parking at the Nissan dealership across the street and walking across the crosswalk. And I was like, I love you, HEB, but I'm grabbing like two things. So I went on down to Fresh, which we talked about. So many parking spaces.
Right.
On a Sunday afternoon.
Right.
When people do their grocery shopping. And it was like, okay, it is having an impact.
Right.
You know? But what I was going to say is I got my handful of things in my basket, and there's like 4 cash registers open with people there. I walk over here to the self-checkout and get my So
my wife will do the same thing.
people intentionally at Target, like it makes me not want to go to Target. Sorry, Target, but I'm not your Target demographic.
They had the self-checkout closed.
Yeah. Oh, man.
You had to go check out at the
I don't
line.
want to talk to people.
Well,
I'm a hermit.
I have two things about that. If I'm by myself and I have a kid with me, and it's not, now my wife is polar opposite, but if I'm by myself and I have a kid with me, I'm going through the checkout with the person
Yeah.
because it just helps manage the kids.
And if I have a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
no. My wife will have 3 carts full, and we're self-checking that sucker
Oh, yeah. I don't do that.
because she wants it all bagged in the same way, so it's easier to put away when we get home.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
But I do that, but I put it on the conveyor belt in a certain order.
Yeah, she does that too.
Like if I'm shopping with my wife, she knows she doesn't take anything out of the basket.
See,
I pull that basket up the conveyor belt and I'm stacking it in the order of all the different things so it gets put in the right bags. You just do it that way. I don't know. If I go to Costco and I have a huge cart full of stuff, I'm 100% pulling up and letting them take care of it.
yeah, that's a little different though. Trump has the 2,000 Trump tariff dividends, $2,000 Trump tariff dividends. This appears that it's going to work and function. I don't know exactly how that works because I don't understand how dividends are, but our CPA across the
They're
table from me-
calling it a dividend. It's just going to be a
Stimulate,
They're just going to send you a check.
Okay.
I'm
You have any thoughts on that?
50-50. I'm
50-50.
fine with it. Like it's a return of tax dollars back to people. Sort of like the way it's
Is it a stimulus check
sort of,
or is it a tax break?
No, it's not a tax break because you're going to get a check.
Okay.
Okay. They have before written checks where they were tax breaks and was in advance, and people really didn't like that because they went and filed their taxes and
Yeah.
they'd already got an advance on their
Right.
refund,
Mm-hmm.
and so the refund was smaller because you got it earlier in the year. So I don't know if they'll do that again. People don't like that, but part of me is like, we have this tariff income coming in. Why don't we lower things that we're taxing because now we're getting that revenue from tariffs and we don't need to get it from taxes,
Or how about we just pay the debt?
right? Or that, I don't care as much. It's kind of like the ballroom. I was asked this week to clarify my position on the ballroom. Y'all, I just don't like where it is. I don't like it being more pronounced than the actual White House.
Okay, so
That's
what
it.
if they tear their West Wing down and build another West
They tear
Wing?
their West Wing down?
You'll lose your stuff.
I'll be on the lawn. No, I won't be because they'll shoot me. But I'll be as close as I can get protesting. Like it's one of my favorite shows ever. And it's just the Oval Office is in the West Wing. Come on now.
I know.
Anyway, like didn't mean to get on ballroom talk. If I had my preference.
Hold on. What if they put a Buc-ee's instead of the East? Did you see that?
Yeah, no, I had friends sending me that. Like saying,
I
hey,
shared it on our Facebook.
as much as we want Buc-ee's to populate the rest of the world, I don't want it
They're
on
opening one in
I
Indiana.
don't want it on the White House lawn.
They're opening one in Indiana.
But I would rather it go to tax reduction or paying down the debt versus sending me a check. But I know there's a ton of people are going to be like, what? Each taxpayer, if I have a certain income under a certain amount, that's for a married couple, $4,000 check you're going to send me. They're going to be 100% sign me up. Send it. Anyway, that's my thoughts.
My thought is this is leading us to universal basic income. If we can maintain this for long periods of time.
Yeah,
it's
Biden
leading-
tried that with the child tax credit.
Yeah, it's leading to that.
To start sending it throughout the year instead of on your tax return.
I mean, that's a win for the Republican Party if he can actually pull this off.
Yeah.
What if twice a year you got a check for $2,000 from the government? No strings attached because of the tariffs and the money that the government was bringing in.
Yeah, I was just like thinking about how much, like.
No, I know where you're going.
I don't care. Like, I understand $2,000 means a lot to people. It means a lot to us. It means a lot to a lot of people, including both of us standing in front of these microphones right now. But it does not mean as much as if you put it in the whole pie and put it towards this isn't taxed anymore.
Right.
Or this is going towards, honestly, probably do nothing to the debt. But, yeah.
Also, it was floated him going to 50-year mortgages.
Saw that.
I don't think 50 is attainable because the average person buying a house, even first-time homeowners, is 38. That's the average right now.
Yeah, no.
So, like, if you have a 50-year mortgage and you're 38, you're 88 when that is due.
Yeah.
That's past the average age. So, like, if you're 45 and you're looking to buy a house, that's 95. So I don't think 50. I mean, I could see them raising it to 40.
But the average home loan age is 7 years.
Yeah.
So,
before you're just
the term on that doesn't matter except that it's how it's amortized and it'll lower payments.
right.
If you're in an area like ours where values are going up, it's fine
Yeah.
because you're not going to be upside down in your house. But if you get an area that's more stagnant where values are, flat across the board, maybe go down a little bit, maybe go up a little bit each year, you're going to have to say, okay, because this is aimed towards people being able to become first-time homeowners. You're going to have to say to them, okay, if you take out a 50-year mortgage, that means you better like it because you're going to have to be there for a minute before you get your equity in where you can move. If you're in an area that doesn't have high growth like we are. So,
Man, the growth right now over here is, although it has slowed down, I keep a pretty good eye on the real estate market. The Sudan crisis is being described by the International Rescue Committee as the largest humanitarian crisis ever.
yeah, but isn't every time we have one of these, it's the largest one ever?
Yeah.
That's a little boy cried wolf to me.
A little bit. Still a horrible atrocity,
Sure.
but not the biggest of ever.
And I feel like we should be able to talk about stuff and call it horrible and it's atrocity and we need to address it without having to call it the worst thing ever.
Right. I'm hoping with the government shutdown hopefully coming to an end that some of these things that are happening, like in Sudan, kind of bring back to the forefront. President Trump pardons New York Met Darryl Strawberry.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what he did to require a pardon. Cheating? Maybe? Don't know. The White House says Washington Commanders naming new stadium after President Trump would be quote unquote beautiful.
Who said that?
The White House says that.
So Trump said that. Okay. Because they just booed him at the game today.
Yeah, I didn't see that. They did.
Yeah.
Trump says he may give Hungary an exemption.
Amon-Ra St. Brown did his dance, though, after he scored a touchdown.
He did?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
And
I
I have
didn't see
him in
that.
both of my leagues. So
Yeah, I got like crap kicked out of me today.
I'm
in
winning
fantasy
today in
football.
both. I'm back on, baby.
Trump says he may give Hungary an exemption on oil from Russia.
Let him to keep getting oil from Russia.
Yeah, I don't really have an issue with that. Let's see here. And then this is kind of, everything in the news this week is about SNAP, EBT, getting food stamps back on. Washington Post says it's among the victims of the cyber breach tied to Oracle, to the Oracle software, and apologizes.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, I did see this. This was kind of funny. Not really funny, but interesting. A man accused of throwing a sandwich at a Customs and Border Protection agent in Washington,
he got
D.C.
off.
spoke out. He gets off as a misdemeanor. Misdemeanor assault. And then that's kind of it.
I was trying to figure out the Daryl Strawberry thing because I just remember he did drugs, but I'm like, how does that, like, what do you need a pardon for doing that? So
There were two pitchers today. It was announced today that there were two pitchers that were cheating on their pitch count.
Oh. It says here tax evasion.
1995 tax evasion,
Mm-hmm.
and failed to report his income or federal tax returns.
Yeah.
So, I mean, other than that, I'm hopeful that the government shutdown is actually going to come to an end, and we can kind of move on from this.
Yeah.
But it was an exciting week for politics, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
But I want to hop back, not a ton, because I do want to. I'm hoping that with this shutdown comes Fetterman kind of comes to the forefront of the Democratic Party. I don't think that will happen, but I'm hopeful that his voice becomes bigger in the Democratic Party because I like that guy. I don't necessarily like the way he dresses in the House, but it is what it is.
I don't think he'll run.
No, I don't think he'll run, but I'm hoping that he just has a bigger voice because he seems to have common sense about him.
Yeah.
And I
that's
like
true.
that.
That's true.
Anything big happening this week for you?
No, man. Cooler weather. And I know all you northerners, like it's gonna be in the 30s. Okay.
Ooh,
Like
that's cold.
we got, and not to mention, like today it was in the low 50s, but we had a 30-mile-an-hour north wind. So
Right.
it was a little chilly. But
Yeah.
I do enjoy this time of year. I do enjoy got the Thanksgiving coming up.
Yeah.
We got some Friendsgivings this next weekend.
Ooh.
So, thankfully, knock on wood, none of our kids have had the crud yet.
Don't say that out loud.
I knocked on wood
Okay.
first, and I'm gonna knock after.
I'm surprised your dog's not barking. Knocking on the door.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got knocked out of the volleyball playoffs this past week.
I was a 6'5" lefty.
Really good. Really good. I mean, we had a pretty solid game plan. We did not play our best, but that was partly because of her.
Yeah.
And she
Yeah.
was phenomenal. She
Yeah.
played very, very well. In volleyball, I talked about this on the pod last week, but we were going to attack her movement, but she looked very healthy. I mean, in terms of that, when we played them the first time,
Probably the thing she worked on because you said it on the pod.
Oh, maybe
You gave away your strategy.
yeah,
Right here.
Well, they got smoked against Solana this past on Friday or Thursday.
Without an athletic director.
Ooh, that story just seems to get worse and worse.
Yeah, it's not looking good at all.
It may. Yeah, that's bad news right over there. So
Can't end on a bad note. When do you start your Christmas shopping?
already started.
Yeah, that's good. Same.
We buy like small things.
Sure.
Like it appears that I still have some. No, they said the Twitch is saying y'all should read 107 Days as your homework for this week. No, absolutely not.
I don't know what all I have to do this week, but I have more to do than that.
100%. I don't want to say too much because my children do listen to this, but
Yeah.
we bought some small things this week. And that's usually what we try to do. by,
All the small things, like they say.
Yeah. True care, truth brings. But I'll.
Do you leave roses by the stairs?
Sometimes.
Surprise listener
Sometimes.
scares.
Yeah. Always I know. You'll be at the show.
We're gonna get copyrighted for that.
We are. We better stop. But yeah, it's we do some small shopping here and there.
Yeah.
Buy the stocking stuffers and things like that. But then we'll do the big one. Usually we do the big one like middle of December.
Yep.
We'll take a week. Like
It's getting so close, man. We're like, a month from now we'll be a week or two out. So
well, and like in school terms, it's Christmas is 4 weeks away because you have these 2 weeks, and then high school level you have 2 weeks after Thanksgiving, and then you go into semester exams.
Yeah,
which is kind of that week is kind of a slowish week. But yeah, it'll be here before we know it.
Yep.
So, all right, man. Have a great week.
Good.